Welcome to Purpose by Design with Dr. Pamela Henkel, a platform for people to share their stories, a place where change and healing can begin. Dr. Pamela stands on the fact that we are here on purpose, with a purpose by design, and not by default. And now, part 2 with Sam Humphrey.
Sam, I also, your shirt, even though it does not talk about your nonprofit, it reminds me of your nonprofit because you also stand with the little guy, right? So
I am the little guy.
You are the little guy. I'm standing with the little guy right here, sitting with him.
I'm currently sitting, but yeah.
Tell us about this incredible nonprofit, what your dream is, what's going on, update us, because it's powerful.
Yeah, so as we've spoken before, and I've mentioned, to many people, and I share about this as much as I humanly possibly can until people tell me to shut up and go away. So during COVID, I kind of came up with a powerful metaphor, which is called the little guy, and I am the little guy. And so it's a brand that I started during COVID, it's kind of grown and developed and transitioned, and I'm still, trying to figure out exactly what it means and how it's going to look and, what it exactly stands for. But originally when I, came up with it, it's a mental health advocacy and self-empowerment brand. And it's called The Little Guy. And the slogan is hashtag standing up for the little guys, which is basically a global metaphor for anyone who's kind of feels like they're the underdog and is trying to stand up against the status quo, which, right now with the strikes, or well, now the WGA strikes over, the SAG strike's still going on. It's a perfect representation of what is happening, not just with the entertainment strikes, but I think globally with a lot of people, standing up and saying enough is enough, with organizations and global corruption, trying to push people down and force their way and their will on them and tell them how they should live. So the little guy is basically, now as it's evolving, I say it's a human rights empowerment lifestyle brand for people who are fighting against the status quo, whether it's, government, big business, corporation, environment, war. Personally, for me, I'm kind of trying to shape it into a minority brand for people who feel unrepresented. And, obviously, as I mentioned, I'm a human rights activist, and ultimately the little guy is about just being a human being. And, that's the commonality that we all have, that we are a human being and we are, quote unquote, the little guy. So I use that to try and help people to know that they can empower themselves and that they can do, be, and feel anything that they want to be, that they have it inside themselves to, as the book that we once did, The Greatness in You, that they have the greatness in themselves, and that it's a mindset thing, that when you shift your mindset to ultimately what you really want to feel and how you want to design your life and how you want to move forward and impact this world, that you can do it. That you just have to shift your mindset, and that how you program your mind is ultimately how, you create your reality, because your thoughts create your reality.
Oh man, it's so true, isn't it? And I think about that and how you and I took the reins of our thought life, and here we are today. Like, back before COVID to where we are today. Just think about that, Sam. I mean, you have many glories of things that you experienced before COVID. I had so many incredible things that were happening in my life, but since then, the gains that have grown with me come right back to what you're talking about, and that is your thought life and learning how to think again, to think differently, and understanding the power of that directing your life, and having a nonprofit that is surrounding that, especially in the areas where people in minority circles are feeling. I don't want them to feel minority. I think everybody should be the majority. You know what I mean? And that comes back to that thinking intelligence of what we're thinking, and being empowered to do so. Right, Sam, I love the little guy, standing with the little guy, what that all represents. So how do people get involved? People that are reading, listening right now, and they're like, I really want to plug in and I want to support this. What do they do?
So currently, as I mentioned, it's still kind of evolving, and I'm still trying to develop what it's going to look like and how people can come along with the journey, because I do know a lot of people would like to support this cause and what I'm trying to do, as they believe in the vision. I am currently trying to set up the platforms for the website. I do have my social media. So I currently have my personal social media, which is the Sam Humphrey, which is basically, I also do a lot of my little guy outreach and social media on that. So it's kind of all tied into one at the moment, but as I kind of figure out how that's going to look, I will be sharing that on my social media. If you do follow me on Instagram, the Sam Humphrey, I tag all of my stories, and I tag all of my social media posts with the little guy, and standing up for the little guys. And I always update people as to how they can get involved. But I am working on setting up the website and fully branding out the t-shirts and the designs and everything. But yeah, I will update people as I finally manage to figure that out. But yeah, for now, if people can obviously share what I talk about, and just share about the principles of the little guy and what the little guy means, and if they can point them back to me, if they want to have conversations with me on my social media, or if they want to hit me up for conversations, or do interviews, I'm always open to share what my philosophy is about life and my brand and how I believe human existence should be.
I love that. So many future endeavors on the horizon for the little guy. Stay tuned, right?
Yeah.
I love that. All right, Sam, what other future endeavors are there? Because you are a multifaceted dude, nonprofit, brilliant and intelligent, an actor, producer, there's so many things, author that you are. What's next?
Good. That's a great question. Sometimes I wonder that myself. But no, yeah, I mean, I think just as a creative, and thank you for all the amazing kind words that you said about me, that I think my brain is just constantly in flux and constantly thinking about what's the next thing, and what's the next thing that can help myself, my family, my friends, my loved ones, and the world. My mission is always about how can I impact the world positively. And even today, I came up with like 10 different things that I thought might be something that I can work on. So I'm working on the development of my independent film projects, which I have 3 to 5 of those in development, and which right now with strikes going on is getting a little bit more spotlight in the indie world, because independent productions are getting more limelight, which is great. And even today, I've started putting in motion some developments for getting back to my roots of doing theatre. because that's where I started out. I started out as a theater actor in high school, doing, live performances. And going back to thinking about, my brand as a little guy is some of the plays or productions that I've thought about developing is to do with, Tom Thumb's journey as well, because that's the character that everyone, resonates with me as. And it is, thank goodness it's in public domain, so it's not owned by anyone, so I can run with that. But then also a poem that really resonated with me as I grew up was the Dr. Seuss poem, Oh, the Places You Will Go. And I actually have that printed out on cue cards, and every so often I find that and I read it back to myself, and it helps to remind me that, life is full of adventure and journey and hiccups, and you can be in good places and bad places, and you can be in places where everything's happening, and you can be in places where nothing's happening. And sometimes it's good to be in places where nothing's happening, because that gives you the time to breathe, which fortunately is kind of where I feel like I am at the moment. It's giving me some time to breathe and figure out what my next steps are. And I believe that I would like to potentially put on a play and develop a production based on a book of Tom Thumb, which is public domain, and also a play or production based on the poem Oh, the Places You'll Go. And that's just something that I'm kind of exploring at the moment. And some of the writers that I've worked with are phenomenal writers, and they, are the writers that I want to work with because they know how to really write a phenomenal script. And I've connected with, producers and directors, and I think the energy is swirling where, anything is possible. And that's the momentum and the energy and the mindset that I'm trying to live in at the moment while things are percolating. So,
Right.
yeah.
I love that, as things are percolating. So we have some theater potentially coming. You've got some of your own film productions that you're working on. There's a lot that working with different writers. So there will be a lot of stuff coming up in the future. And again, people can follow you on Instagram and find out what's going on next.
Yeah, so I have on Instagram, I have the Sam Humphrey on Instagram. You can also follow me on Facebook, which is you can look up Sam Humphrey or the Sam Humphrey. I don't necessarily post on Facebook so much, but all my content from Instagram does go to my Facebook feed. Also, as Instagram recently launched Threads, I'm also on Threads with the Sam Humphrey as well. And again, I post on that individually, and also my content from Instagram also goes to Threads.
Okay. Lots of ways to stay connected with you and to find out where things are at in the moving forward process. I love that. So a couple more questions and we're almost done. I treasure the fact that you are a friend. I also treasure the fact that you asked me some time ago to mentor you. And it's such a privilege and an honor because I know who you are, the integrity of the person that you are. But I also want to say this about you, Sam. What I ask you to do, you do. If I'm telling you to write something out 20 times, 20 I am statements, you're doing it. If whatever it is that I'm giving you that direction on, like when I contacted you about the greatness in you, you got involved, but that was the book that we were in case anybody doesn't know what that is. And if you want that book, you need to contact Sam and he'll get you that book. But which was great. We did that with Les Brown and many other authors. It was wonderful. But you are a committed person. You are committed to what you do. And so whether it is your film production, working with creating playwrights, or it's in theater, or the little guy, or screen, anything that you're doing, writing, you are like 110% committed to it. And when we worked together in that book, I saw what that meant to you. Because when we asked our authors to go live, to do this, to do that, man, Sam, you were all over the place doing it and pushing out what you believed in. And in that moment, we were all believing and pushing together for the Greatness in You book, right? And so as your mentor, which is just a privilege to be able to say that, my kids will go, you're Sam Humphrey's mentor. And they just think that that's just the greatest thing, you know, since sliced bread or probably ice cream for them. You're up there with ice cream, Sam. And, you know, it is such a treasure to know you because you don't quit. You do go through tough times and you don't try to hide it. You're honest, but you, again, using your thoughts, push yourself into the right direction. But you have a commitment level that I just respect. And I honor that in you. And I believe because of that, you understand the power of mentorship. And so I want to circle back to this question about mentorship, not so that you can just give accolades to me, because mentorship is powerful when you utilize it. And it's not just about saying, I have a mentor. It's about being willing to be mentored and understanding the cohesiveness of it. And so I want to toss the ball back to you and say, why do people need a mentor? And why did you ask me? Because you could have asked anybody, but why should people, even in the acting community, in Hollywood, the creatives, why do they need a mentor?
I believe that everyone needs a mentor because ultimately you can never stop learning. Like the moment you say that you're done learning you're done. Like, I mean, no one can stop learning. Like, you can never be too old to learn. And I think as you get older, I think having a mentor is even more important because as we get older, we get into our habits and our thought patterns and our belief systems where we believe that we know everything and we can get stuck. So I think having someone has different, perspectives and has had different experiences and has different knowledge, can impart a lot of wisdom onto you. And I think mentors can be young and old. I am fortunate that, I mean, I'm not necessarily a mentor to anyone, but I have people who are older than me that, say to me that they really, cherish, talking with me and that I have a lot of intellectual wisdom to impart, which honestly sometimes takes me back because I'm only 29. I'm like, what wisdom or knowledge or intellect, do I have to share that, can be really impactful on someone who has, 20, 30 years more life experience than me. And so I think mentorship, whether, it's old or young, is very important. And like you mentioned, in the creative field, I think mentorship looks differently because in terms of, business or creative, I think as an actor, mentors can be coaches, like I have my acting coach, I have my life coach, I have you, who I consider as a business coach and I consider as a spiritual coach as well, that helps me, to also impart back into me with, scripture and with Bible verses, and as well as you have worked with the amazing and legendary Bob Proctor, who, I wish I could only have wished to have been fortunate enough to have associated with. But working with you, who has worked with him, I've been able to learn the practices and acquire the skills and knowledge through you that Bob Proctor has imparted onto so many people. And I believe that that has been important for me too, because as we've spoken about, it's all about, your thoughts creating your reality and mindset shift. And that without all of those, things that you've imparted to me through your experiences and knowledge with working with Bob Proctor, I wouldn't be where I am today. I believe I would have still been, bit of a shadow of a small person that, I thought that could not achieve, some of the things that I have been fortunate to achieve, and believed in myself to the point of where, I am confident enough to believe that, the things that I'm striving towards that, a lot of people might say is impossible, that I don't believe it is, because nothing is impossible. If you have the mindset and you have the belief, and, where there's a will, there's a way. So, just having someone like you to also impart on me, when I also get down, and imparting your belief and encouragement and confidence in me that I can do and be committed and believe in all the things that we've talked about. It has been truly special to me, and obviously the conversations we've had and the things we've talked about, striving to go forward about with the little guy and the thing, business practices and things, will help to breathe life into the vision of all the things that I want to do, and that, I want to do, with your help. So.
You have such a huge vision, and I appreciate that. And you can have, do, and be anything that you want. And as Bob Proctor always said, if you can hold it here, you can see it here. You can hold it there. If you can see it here, you can hold it here. If you can hold it here, you can see it here. Whichever way you want to say that. Thank you so much, Sam. And mentorship, coaching, they're both huge, aren't they? But you are very committed to being coached. I mean, you just said life coach, acting coach, spiritual coach, business coach. I mean, you're very committed to it. So you have seen the benefit of it. And
I believe in, self-improvement is the ultimate form of, reaching our highest potential. There's never there's never lack of room, I should say, for self-improvement. There's always a higher level to go, and I'm always striving to get to that level, so that not only for myself, my spirituality for myself is that I have also made a point to not want to get into a relationship before making sure that I'm right with myself, because whatever I experience and whatever I'm going through is going to impart onto my relationship and my partner. So I believe that I need to be my highest form of myself and my highest self of improvement before I allow anyone else into my physical realm and mental realm to potentially partake in whatever I am giving out in my experience of life. So
that's so good, Sam, because as leaders, and you're a leader, we continue to evolve. All of us do, but as leaders, it is imperative that we have those strong support systems around us to continue to push us out in the right direction. And as leaders, bringing other people into our lives on that personal level, again, just making sure that we have all of that, those supports around us, so that we continue to evolve, to continue to grow, to discover, and to keep the excitement alive, and to keep the wisdom as the grounding of it, kind of like to lay that grounding level, lay that foundation, but to also keep that excitement, to keep moving both so needed and so important. Yeah, coaching / mentorship. Some, I know there's significant differences to some people between the two, but I like to say coaching / mentoring. I believe in it. I utilize it. I am it. And thank you for sharing that. And I just adore you. You're awesome. I want to start to wind up our time together here. I got 2 more quick questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you know me as Purpose with Pamela, Purpose by Design. I believe that we are here on purpose with a design. We're not here by default.
Absolutely.
And also, the magazine is designed with purpose. Woo-hoo!
Woo!
So excited about this. And you are our initial interview. You are the person that's helping us roll this out because you're a leader and that's what you do. You're a creative. So from your standpoint, tell me, as we're featuring you for this initial kickoff, what does being designed with purpose mean?
That is a very good question. I think designed with a purpose is having a plan of action, is having goals and having a vision. I think as human beings, we need to have goals. We need to have vision. We need to have purpose. When you don't have a vision, you don't have a purpose, you don't have something that you're striving for, you get stuck. We're human beings, we're social creatures. So we always need to be moving forward. And when you're not moving forward and you don't have a plan of action, then that's when I think the negativity of, this world, because this world can be a very dark place and a very negative place if we let it, can crush us and hold us down. So I think if you don't have a purpose or you don't have a plan, then ultimately you're going to go nowhere. So I think having a plan, having a purpose, and having a goal to strive for is one of the most important things you can have. And I think, sometimes when people, decide to give up, that's when, life gets difficult and life gets hard for them because they have given up, or they don't see a plan or a purpose going forward, or they don't see what their life amounts to. Sometimes we just need someone to come alongside of us to give us that inspiration and help us to find the purpose or find the design that we need, because sometimes we don't quite always know what that purpose by design is for ourselves. And sometimes we haven't managed to find it from God. God has given everyone a purpose, and God has given everyone a design to live by.
Yes.
But sometimes people have a hard time realizing what that is, and need someone to come alongside them to help them realize what that purpose by design is.
Boom, you nailed it. It's a great answer, Sam. Loved it. All right. And in closing, personal growth. And you've talked about this really throughout the entire interview, but your whole career, you have showcased so many different talents and highlighted so many others, and other people, but you've showcased so many different things, from writing to acting. Now you're talking about going back to theater, all these different things that you have done, including getting into producing and all of this other stuff that, that I'm not even mentioning everything. But on top of that, in this time we've been together, you've also talked about the adversity, which you have had also showcased, because there's been stuff that's gone on due to you being a little person, due to some of the health challenges that surround that, due to just things that have happened throughout life, the mental challenges, the physical challenges, the health challenges. But I'm not saying that everything was always just easy, that you were like, okay, I'm just going to make the best of this. But you have decided that personal growth, and you just said it before, was like, it's not optional. We have to continue to develop. So from your standpoint, my question, a little closing question, is kind of twofold. How is it that you have navigated that terrain for yourself, that through these different things, whether it was your talents, whether it was the challenges that you have pushed through on the personal growth, instead of having it just devastate you, that you've gone and you've pushed through to continue to develop? But also, with all that you have learned, how can you help shape Hollywood?
Yeah, well, with all of that, to me, one of the biggest things for me is just, you can't give up. There's giving up is not an option. For me, with everything that I've gone through, and that, as of yet, I am, 100% for 100%. I've gone through everything that is, come at me, and I always try to remind myself that, I got through the last thing, and, that last thing was potentially the hardest thing I had ever gone through. And so if that was the hardest thing I had ever gone through, then I can get through the next hardest thing I ever have to go through. And sharing about some of my health challenges back in 2018. I am unfortunately diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and that has been one of the biggest challenges of my life. Balancing my Crohn's disease with my career aspirations, and also the mental health challenges that brings. For me, it's just there. I believe that there are people that have greater challenges out there than I do, and if they can get through, each day with their challenges, I can get through each day with my challenges. There are people that I look to that inspire me. I haven't necessarily met them, but I watch their interviews, I listen to their stories, and it gives me inspiration that they have a harder life than I do, even though, I have a challenging life too. One person that really inspires me, which I would love and, be privileged to meet one day, is his name's Nick Vujicic. He has no arms and legs. He has a charity and a platform called Life Without Limbs. And he has no arms, he has no legs, he has a little chicken drumstick that he likes to call it. And he is living his best life. He has a beautiful wife, he has a beautiful daughter, and he, travels around the world speaking about empowerment and about, the mentality that he has, and how God has blessed him and has allowed him to be a blessing to others. And hearing how he moves forward in that, and that, what he's fortunate to have, inspires me to live in that same, headspace, that what I have is a blessing, and that I should be grateful for what I have, rather than, looking down on what I don't have, and then using that to also hopefully inspire and challenge other people that have more than what I have, and have more than what other people have, to, go out and be a blessing to others with, all that they are blessed with. And that hopefully, when I am fortunate to have a very successful career, and, finances and prosperity and abundance, that I believe in all paying it forward. And so even with what little I may have now, I try as much as possible to pay it forward. And I always try to look towards being a blessing to other people before, looking to help myself. So that's something that I really, really believe in is blessing others before blessing yourself. Because when you bless others, God will ultimately pour back into your life and bless you.
That is perfect way to end our interview. It is in blessing that you are blessed. Sam, that's perfect and totally represents you. Thank you so much for taking all of this time to hang out with me and to have this interview and to just get real, to just share and to be transparent, to be organic about it as you always are, and to just pull the curtains back a little bit on who the Sam Humphrey is. We appreciate you.
I think it's important, especially, you know, in the industry that I'm in, that in Hollywood, there's a lot of fakeness and a lot of niceties that happen between relationships. And I have experienced it firsthand where there's been a lot of fakeness where people are all nice to each other's face, and then behind closed doors or behind the scenes, you know, people say very crass and very negative things about people that they are supposed to be friends with and whatnot. And I believe in just being authentic, and that, you know, in Hollywood, there needs to be more genuineness, and that ultimately we are human beings in a human world that, you know, Hollywood doesn't always reveal, you know, to be seen. So I want to try and pull back the curtain of just being an authentic human being in this creative Hollywood industry, which is not necessarily known for being.
So bringing the genuinity, being genuine, and bringing that into that creative space, and holding that space for others. Love that. And that is a perfect ending. I could see that in a written format, that you bringing that genuinity into Hollywood and holding that space for others. Like, boom, that's a beautiful end right there.
Thank you for joining us for Purpose by Design with Dr. Pamela Henkel. You can learn more about Dr. Pamela and her world at purposewithpamela.com. See you next time on Purpose by Design.